So today I'm going to talk about why we don't like music. So two people can listen to the same song, and one of them will find it very moving and meaningful, and the other person might find it annoying and actually get genuinely angry every time they hear it. And it seems weird that something that we have evolved into our genes to like can have such diverse effects on us. But there are a couple reasons that I want to discuss as to why this might happen. So in my video about how music evolved, I discussed how music takes the rules of prosody, and prosody is basically the musical elements of human speech that makes it sound happy or sad. And music can take these rules that prosody has made and use them to express emotions in music. But another thing that prosody does is it expresses things about the person speaking. In my video about what your music says about you, I go into a little more detail about what your music says about your personality. So one reason that people might hate some music that other people like is because it expresses a personality that only some people find appealing. And this would explain to some extent why people would have differing views on how good music is, but it still seems weird that it would give some people such an adverse reaction. When I hear the speech of somebody who I think is a little pretentious or arrogant or spoiled, I don't usually react with anger to everything they say. And I don't think most people do either. So the other big thing that I think contributes to the negative reactions people have to music is the authenticity. So there's a bit of an evolutionary arms race with authenticity and deception. If you can express to somebody that you really need something, that's a very adaptive thing to do, because you'll be more likely to survive and reproduce. But if we did not have some degree of deception detection skills in our genes, then we wouldn't be able to differentiate whose expressions are authentic and not. And this means that people would be able to express need when they don't actually have a need for something, which would not be very adaptive at all in a species that generally spends time in tribes or groups. So if we have evolved deception detection skills into our genes, then it should follow that we would actually have a somewhat adverse reaction to people who are expressing something inauthentic, because this is a sign that these people are trying to take advantage of us. And if trying to take advantage of people is not discouraged in a group, then that group is not as likely to survive. And this would mean that the ability to express something inauthentic would react to systems that evolve within the deception detection skills. The two would have to react to each other, making something that was once non-adaptive adaptive, which leads to a really complicated kind of random system of deception detection. And this would mean that there would be a lot of variety in how different people detect deception, which would mean that different people would have very different reactions to the authenticity of the same music. So personally, I would really like to test this hypothesis a little more, and evolutionary theories are a little difficult to test sometimes. But if this is true, this means that the way we perceive music should be disproportionately affected by how honest we know that the artist is. So I've designed a research proposal that will test this, because you can measure the impact that perceived honesty has on perceptions of music, and that makes it a lot easier to test the overall theory. So if you want to see research like this get done, make sure to support me on Patreon. If I get enough support there, I will actually follow through with the research, and I'll update everybody on this channel. So make sure to like, subscribe, and support me on Patreon if you want to support this kind of research. Either way, I hope you found this interesting. I'll post more links to resources in the description.